who sold his Ferrari. Introduction: a life that looked successful but felt empty. The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari is a story based self development book that explores success, happiness, and the true purpose of life. The story begins with Julian Mantel, a highly successful lawyer who has everything society associates with achievement, money, fame, luxury, and status. Yet beneath his outward success lies extreme stress, poor health, and inner emptiness. Julian's life takes a dramatic turn when he suffers a heart attack in the courtroom. This moment becomes a wake up call, forcing him to confront a difficult truth: success without inner peace leads to destruction. The book is framed as a conversation between Julian and his former colleague John, through which Julian shares the wisdom he gained after abandoning his old life in the search of meaning. Chapter 1: The Wake Up Call. The story begins with Julian's collapse during a trial, shocking everyone who admired his professional success. This incident exposes the cost of living a life driven solely by ambition, deadlines, and external rewards. Julian realized that wealth and recognition cannot compensate for the neglect of health, relationship, and inner fulfillment. This chapter sets the tone for the book by showing that ignoring balance eventually leads to crisis. The learning here is clear: when life forces us to slow down through pain, it is often guiding us towards a deeper truth. Chapter 2: Meeting the Monk. After disappearing for several years, Julian unexpectedly returns, calm, radiant, and transformed. He no longer resembles the stressed lawyer he once was. He explains that he sold his luxurious possessions, including his Ferrari, and traveled to India in search of lasting happiness. There he encountered monks in the Himalayas who taught him ancient principles for mastering the mind and living with purpose. This chapter introduces the idea that true wealth is eternal, and that radical change is possible when one is willing to let go of ego and attachment. Chapter 3: The Extraordinary Transformation. Julian describes how his physical health, energy, and clarity returned once he changed his lifestyle and mindset. Through disciplined habits, meditation, and purposeful living, he reclaimed control over his body and thoughts. This chapter emphasizes that the human body and mind have an incredible ability to heal when treated with respect. The learning is that transformation doesn't come from external circumstances, but from daily choices aligned with inner values. Chapter 4: The Magical Garden, the Seven Virtues. This chapter introduces the central teaching of book through a symbolic story known as yogic philosophy of life. Julian describes a lush garden representing the mind, a lighthouse symbolizing purpose, a sumo wrestler representing self-discipline, a cable symbolizing willpower, a stopwatch for time management, fragrant roses for selfless service, and a golden path for living in the present. Each symbol represents a principle that leads to meaningful and balanced life. The story format makes complex ideas easy to understand and memorable. Chapter 5: Master Your Mind. Julian explains that mind is like a garden. Whenever you plant will grow. Negative thoughts, fear, and worry weakens the mind, while positive thoughts strengthens it. The monks taught him that controlling thoughts is the foundation of success and happiness. Through practices like visualization, affirmation, and mindfulness, one can train the mind instead of being controlled by it. The learning here is that most sufferings comes from events themselves, but from how we represent it. Chapter 6: Follow Your Purpose. This chapter focuses on discovering and living by a clear purpose. Julian explains that without a meaningful goal, life feels directionless. Even if it appears successful, Purpose gives energy, motivation, and resilience. The monk taught that happiness comes from progress towards something meaningful, not from material accumulation. The lesson is that when actions align with purpose, life gains clarity and fulfillment. Chapter 7, Practice Kaizen, Self Discipline. Self discipline is introduced as the bridge between goals and achievement. Julian explains that small, consistent improvements leads to extraordinary results over time, a principle known as Kaizen. Discipline is habits such as exercise, reading, reflection, and focus builds confidence and inner strength. This chapter teaches that success is not created by dramatic change but by mastering small daily actions. Chapter 8, Living with Discipline and Willpower. Julian describes willpower as a muscle that grows stronger with use. By doing difficult things consistently, one develops mental strength and self respect. The monks believe that controlling impulses leads to freedom, not restriction. This chapter highlights that discipline creates long term peace while indulgence often leads to regret. Chapter 9, Respect Your Time. Time is presented as the most valuable asset. Julian explains that most people are busy but not productive, consistently distracted and reactive. The monks taught him to focus on priorities, eliminate distractions, and live intentionally. Managing time effectively means managing life itself. The learning here is that where attention goes, life follows. Chapter 10, Selfless Service and Compassion. This chapter emphasizes the importance of service and kindness. Julian explains that helping others creates deep fulfillment and connects us to something greater than ourselves. True happiness grows when life is not centered only as a personal gain. The monks believe that meaningful life includes contributing positively to the world. The lesson is that giving enriches the giver as much as the receiver. Chapter 11, Live in the Present. Julian shares the wisdom of living fully in the present moment. Regret lives in the past and anxiety lives in the future, but peace exists only in the now. By practicing awareness and gratitude, one can experience deeper joy. This chapter teaches that happiness is not postponed, it is available in the present moment when attention is fully engaged. Chapter 12, A New Beginning. The book concludes with Julian encouraging John to apply these principles in his own life. The story comes full circle as Julian prepares to continue sharing this wisdom with others. The message is hopeful and empowering. Everyone can redesign their life by changing their mindset, habits, and priorities. The ending reinforced that success and happiness are not destination but ways of living. Final reflection. The monk who sold his Ferrari teaches that real success is not measured by wealth, status, or possessions, but by inner peace, purpose, and balance. When ambition is guided by wisdom, life becomes fulfilling of, instead of exhausting. The book reminds us that slowing down, simplifying life, and mastering the mind leads to true freedom. Closing. When you learn to master your mind, respect your time, and live with purpose, you realize that the greatest wealth in life is not what you own, but who you become. Thank you. Please like and subscribe.